everybody, DeathsStalker here. So I thought I'd talk to you about one of the weekends I was at the Canadian Nationals, and I was at the track for a track day on Wednesday, and I decided to actually stay over and just camp out at the track because I was going to be back on Friday anyways for the open practice for the Nationals for that weekend. And I figured, you know, why would I want to drive 5 hours home, basically piddle around for the day, drive 5 hours back the next day to come to the same track I just left. So I decided to stay there, and you know, had my supper, had my worked on my bike on the Wednesday after the session, and then I decided to go to bed, and I did. And then the next morning I wake up, and you know, when I went to bed, there was like me and one other couple that were at the racetrack, and I woke up in the morning, and right next to me was this giant transport truck, and beside it was another transport truck. And you know, I walked up and I talked to one of the guys who ran the track. I go, what's going on? He goes, oh, Porsche Owner Club's got the track rented for the day. I go, oh, cool. And like over the next couple hours, guys started showing up with their Porsches, and guys coming with their Porsches on trailers. A big Yokohama tire transport truck showed up, and I mean transport truck. And you know, I'm sort of sitting back and going, interesting. But I'm not really a car guy. My best friends are, and they would have been absolutely flabbergasted that I wasn't like drooling over all these cars. I go like, well, they're nice, but eh. And now this is back in the I'm gonna say mid to late 1980s, and I know for a fact the big car was a Porsche 944 Turbo. There was the 928, which was really expensive, but the 944 and the 944 Turbos were more reasonably priced. Now, that is a, you know, generic phrase, but when you look at the fact that my 1985 Blazer cost $15,000, and I think the regular Porsche 944 was 40 or 42. I can't remember. I just remember when, like, holy crap, that's expensive. And I think the Porsche was $68,000 back then. It was like the 928, and it was like, so these were not cheap cars. And there was a, you know, a bunch of guys there with older ones, no idea what they are. They just look really old. Some of the guys were like really like wowing over them, like the Porsche guys, and they, you know, they were kind of interesting. Now, to give you an idea how much money these guys had, the one guy had. Now it was a it wasn't it was actually sort of like a race car, but it was built on a standard chassis, so I don't know what they're called, SCCA or something like that. They're based on a street vehicle, so it was a Porsche 944, all done up for racing, had racing numbers and all that stuff on it. And the guy shows up, and he goes to the Yokohama guy, gets brand new tires put on it, and went out and rode it for a couple hours, came back in, got 4 new tires put on it, rode it some more, got 4 new tires put on it. Now, it turned out he was sponsored by them, but they, I guess, you know, I don't know how much he was paying for them, if it was a full sponsor or not, but that was like, he ended up with 4 sets of tires in that car by the end of the day, and he was like just screaming around the track. And then there was another guy with a 928, and he went out and put these 4 tires on his car and went out and rode the whole day, and at the end of the day came in and got 4 tires on his car and drove it home. And I was talking to the tire guys, and it was like, now we're talking mid-80s, this was like $1,000 for tires. Like, these were really high-performance tires. And, you know, I'm sitting there working away and all that, enjoying working on my bike and not having to freak out about going racing. And it's like every once in a while you'd see a car come in, and there'd be like a little bit of damage to the back end, a little bit of damage to the side because somebody had gone off track, or somebody had actually banged into somebody else. Like this was a track day, but you know, boys will be boys, and you get people who push a little bit over the limit. And there was one guy who had a 944 turbo who was really fast. Now the racetrack we were at was Shannonville Motorsport Track, which is in just past Belleville, Ontario. And the one thing about Shannonville is the main straightaway where the start finish line is, there's a concrete wall. And the bike racers, we know there's a concrete wall, and they actually put hay bales on part of it, so you don't try to go too fast through that last corner before the before the finish line. Well, this guy was pushing it harder and harder and harder, and I was sort of walking around just seeing what's going on, and just listening to a couple guys. They were talking about their cars, and they were planning on going down to some event down in Florida. And all of a sudden we heard like the guy coming around the corner, and then all of a sudden, you know, the unmistakable sound of a thump, and this, you know, fingernails across a chalkboard sound as this guy went a wee too wide and put it all the way down the concrete wall. And you know, immediately he pulled off and came back in, and his 944 was now about an inch narrower, because he basically had just did the whole one side of the body in. And you know, luckily there was a guy, the Porsche was there with a transport truck, and I guess they loaded it up and took it home for the guy, and you know, we're looking at fixing it up. But you know, it's just one of those unusual things I saw when I was racing, because normally I don't get to see the car guys. They did race with us at Mossport a couple times, so sometime I might talk about that. But looks like they're doing some construction here. That's a hole. So anyways, I thought you might be interested in that little bit of a side track action. Hope you enjoyed it. DeathsStalker signing off.